Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of 3x squared is equal to 216. So I'm going to first start by rewriting this as x to the power of 3 to the power of x squared is equal to 216. And now I'm going to switch the order of 3 and x squared, so this is the same thing as x to the power of x squared to the power of 3 is equal to 216. I'm going to rewrite as 6 to the power of 3. Now these two 3's can simply cancel out, so now I have x to the power of x squared is equal to 6. Now I'm going to take the power of 2 on both sides. So now I have x to the power of x squared to the power of 2 is equal to 6 squared. And I'm going to switch these two places. So now I have x squared to the power of x squared is equal to 6 squared. And now I can let x squared equal to the variable y. So now I have y to the power of y is equal to 6 squared. And 6 squared, that's the same thing as 36. So now I have y to the power of y is equal to 36. Now if I take the ln on both sides, I get ln y to the power of y is equal to ln 36. And now if I have something in the form ln a to the power of b, I can move this exponent b to the front, so it's going to equal b times ln a. So in this case, I can move y to the front, so now I have y times ln y is equal to ln 36. Now y is the same thing as e to the power of ln of y because the e and ln cancel out. So I'm going to replace y with e to the power of ln y. So now I have e to the power of ln y times ln y is equal to ln 36. Now I'm going to take the W Lambert function on both sides. So I have the W of ln y times e to the power of ln y is equal to W of ln 36. And this results in e to the power of ln y equaling e to the power of W of ln 36. And remember how we let y equal to x squared. So now I have x squared is equal to e to the power of W of ln 36. If I take the square root on both sides, I get x is equal to the square root of e to the power of W of ln 36. And this is plus or minus. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of 4 is equal to 1. So I'm going to first start by subtracting 1 on both sides. So then these two cancel out, and I get x to the power of 4 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now x to the power of 4, I can rewrite this as x to the power of 2 times 2. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m times n, this is equal to a to the power of m to the power of n. So x to the power of 2 times 2, I can write this as x to the power of 2 to the power of 2. Now I have this minus 1 is equal to 0. Now 1 is the same thing as 1 squared. So I have x squared to the power of 2 minus 1 squared is equal to 0. If I have something in the form a squared minus b squared, this is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So in this case, a is x squared and b is 1. So I have x squared plus 1 times x squared minus 1, and this is equal to 0. Now, remember how now this is equal to this actually gives me two equations. I have x squared plus 1 is equal to 0, and I have x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So for x squared plus 1 equals 0, I'm going to start by subtracting 1 on both sides. So these two cancel out, and I get x squared is equal to negative 1. Now if I take the square root on both sides, the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of negative 1, if you guys already know, is I. So I have positive negative I. And for x squared minus 1 equals 0, I'm going to add 1 on both sides. So I get x squared is equal to 1. If I take the square root, I get x is equal to positive or negative 1. So that's 2 more solutions. So these are my 4 solutions to this problem. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of x to the power of 10 is equal to 400. So to start, I'm going to rewrite 400. Actually, before that, I'm going to rewrite 400 as 20 squared. And now I'm going to take the power of 10 on both sides. So now I have x to the power of x to the power of 10 to the power of 10 is equal to 20 to the power of 2 to the power of 10. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of n to the power of m. So in this case, we can think of x to the power of 10 as m and 10 as n, and I can switch these two places. So now I have x to the power of 10 to the power of x to the power of 10. And also, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So this is the same thing as 20 to the power of 2 times 10, which is 20. Now I'm going to let x to the power of 10 equal to the variable y. So now I have y to the power of y is equal to 20 to the power of 20. And a to the power of a equals b to the power of b. This means that a equals b. So y is equal to 20. Now remember how we let x to the power of 10 equal to y, meaning x to the power of 10 is equal to 20, and x is equal to the 10th root of 20.